So Neeraj and I had a small conversation before we were thinking of how best to utilize his viewpoints and the way he has seen this business and bring those insights to everybody here. And instead of then going from what we had proposed, wherein Neeraj would have said everything we are doing wrong, we are just going to get his views in a conversation on everything that this business has been about. I am going to ask him questions, which I love doing. So Neeraj, let's just begin with something that has got mentioned again and again in the course of the day, beginning with Mr. Bahal's presentation, which is about content. Specifically to mobile, right now the screen is taking content from different media. But how do you look at the way content is being consumed on this media? And literally, what should content be for this media? What defines content on mobile?
Noor, the aspect of content and the manner in which it is being consumed across mobile devices is truly fascinating, because I'm sure you've had sessions today and you've been parts of conversations earlier as well. When you look at content, content today has another manifestation, which is really digital goods. And this can be defined as images, text, video, game, application. All of these make up for content. Conversations that are happening is content. Chats on messaging apps is content. But I think amongst all of this, the bigger trend and the bigger category, which is catching the attention of all key stakeholders, is the advent of video. Yeah. And video as a form factor being the dominant sort of content category, whether in short form and leading up to full form, as it were. And the beauty about video is that each of us are also creators of content, as it were. So you break this up into two parts. One is really the broader user-generated, which is not necessarily calling for a commercial value proposition, but it is fueling the consumption of data. And that's really photos, videos, etc. that we're taking. And I don't think there's really any kind of roadmap in a tangible way other than storage towards monetization of that. And I don't believe people will want to monetize that, as it were. The other facet of content is really content that has been created either for other form factors and other screens, which is now finding its way onto mobile. And another trend being made for digital or made for mobile content itself. Now, both of these have very, very fascinating sizes and appeal to them. The broader digital goods marketplace is already being talked about at upwards of 100 billion, in revenues. So if you were to take a look at something that, arguably one of the most prolific companies in our ecosystem did a little under 6 months ago, which is really Apple and the formation of Apple Pay. Now, if you see Apple Pay, the origins of Apple Pay go back to 2002 when they launched iTunes, which at that time was a music content service, which then culminated into video and then went into movies and ebooks and games and applications. And all of that resulted in them getting 800 million accounts. Closer to possibly 90% of them were only using that account for digital goods or content consumption, as opposed to buying themselves a tablet or an iPhone or a Mac or whatever. So I think this is really one of the bigger trends which is being explored not just by creators of content or publishers or large broadcasters or studios or record labels, but also by marketers, and we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah, fair enough. In fact, on that very point, there is so much of conversation about mobile advertising in India. And you mentioned 2 points. There is content that is there on other platforms, which mobile is only showing as a screen, and then made for mobile content, which I'm not sure how much is really being done, honestly, right now. But this mobile advertising links back to it very directly. From an India point of view, do you think there will still be dependence of monetization via advertising? Or do you expect that India will have its own unique model that develops over time?
It's a very valid point, and something which all key stakeholders in this market should be talking about. So to me, actually building businesses in a market like India purely from an advertising perspective, in my mind, is extremely vulnerable. And I say this in context to our broader economy. So you look at our economy, we're about 2.2 trillion in GDP. After having been around for this long and for mainstream advertising been around in forms such as print, television, outdoor, radio, etc., we are still roughly about a $7.5 billion total advertising market. My friend Gurmeet here, correct me if I'm wrong. Within this, when you look at it, digital is, maybe about 8-9% or 650 million or thereabouts. Now, you draw a similar comparison to, you look at a market like China. China is, from a GDP perspective, is probably 4.5 times our size, so maybe closer to 10 trillion. Just their online advertising market in December of 2014 was $24 billion.
Right, well.
Now, that enables a lot of what I would term as AVOD or advertising-driven ecosystems. I would encourage, whilst obviously mobile advertising will grow in India, and it will grow because what's happening is that out of 260 million phones which are sold each year, now closer to 70-75% of those are already internet capable. This year itself, about half of those, maybe about 125, will be smartphones, up from 57 last year, and up from 29 the year before. So, rapid growth. And these medium are rich for different forms of mobile advertising to be explored. But what's happening is adoption of consumers onto mobile networks is happening at a more rapid pace than advertising dollars. And hence there will continue to be pressure from a perspective of yields and CPMs, etc. So I personally think that there is case for almost the equivalent of a freemium model in the mobile advertising ecosystem, where you take the aspect of content and you also see with content what also does is there are everyone follows a certain type of content which creates two clusters of communities, which logically in my mind should lead to commerce, so it's content, community and commerce, which is really the holy grail of what we all want to go to. So if publishers, advertisers, marketeers really looked at this as access and leveraged parts of content to lead to transaction, I think India has a tremendously large opportunity as opposed to what we are currently pursuing right now.
Fair enough. But to be fair, loyalty and oxymoron, loyalty and e-commerce is a bit of an oxymoron right now, right?
Yes, it is.
The way it is working out. So, and you're right, commerce is going to be very critical for the mobile piece. You gave the example of Apple. We've already heard about Facebook integrating Pay in its Messenger model, which is like a large chunk of audience. Where do you think this is headed in terms of really truly getting commerce going on this platform, especially given the problems with the lack of loyalty?
Yeah. So, I'd love to see more conversations wherein the mobile economy is almost every action that we are taking is leading towards or is enabling brands to see the transaction ecosystem or the commerce ecosystem. You're absolutely right that this market, at least for now, loyalty and e-commerce is an oxymoron. Almost everybody at this point in time is more on a land grab to acquire customers. If you see even more mature markets, like take the example of US, Amazon's been around for 20 years now. And sure, there is tremendous amount of comfort and repeat consumption that's been set in. But there is always scope for categories to then get disrupted. Take the example of what Instacart has done with just online grocery as an example. So I think brands need to find that sweet spot wherein you're not merely acquiring customers on the lure of that 30-40%, as it were. Right now, that 30-40% is seemingly an option because you're really cutting into the retail margin. If you look at India, only 18% of total retail is actually in the organized sector.
That's true, yeah.
So therefore, there was a tremendous opportunity to kind of leapfrog. But equally, what's likely to come up the next 3-4 years is two things. One is more entrepreneurial models, which will really become parts of marketplaces, which doesn't disrupt the existing. In fact, it only adds to it. But the more important one will be the emergence of existing sort of brick and mortar stores,
Right.
which are in their own way developing, so sort of more robust, made for India kind of models, which will be really a cusp between online and offline. And I wouldn't rule out some of those emerging the next 3-4 years as well.
Perfect. So I can see that we still have 5 minutes, and I'm going to be really nice and ask anyone if you have a question for Neeraj, because I have one last question from him, and after that I won't let you ask any questions. So, yes. Oh, there is a question. All right, can we please get the gentleman a mic? And may I please request you to just state your name and company and then ask the question.
Yeah, hi Neeraj. I'm Khushru from VocalBee. And
Hi,
you started by making a statement that you don't see a likely monetization for UGC, user-generated content. And as much as I would love to believe that, but I think there is a lot of potential, and that's what we are doing, as VocalBee is doing, where we're trying to tell the brand to actually see the value in the UGC, which is the user-generated content. And
So, Khushru, no, I was not referring to that UGC. I think what you're referring to is more the made for digital or, more in the space of those channels which are emerging across YouTube, etc., which
Right.
brands are also now taking to in their own form. I was actually referring to the creators of content as individuals,
Yeah,
where
we
we
talk-
take pictures, we take videos, but we are posting those for personal consumption as opposed to posting them. That part, I mean, I don't see a monetizable model out there, and rightly so.
the point I'm making is it's not monetization the way you're saying it, but to be able to monetize it, to be able to gratify the end user is still something which is possible, and that is what brands are looking to do today, I think. That's the
Yeah,
point.
sure. I mean, again, you're probably referring to consumers creating their own sort of Vine feeds, going around doing that. And in this, as I'm speaking to you, I'm reminded of a conversation I had with Muhtar Kent, the chairman of Coke, about 6 months ago. And it was a forum, something like this in New York. And very interestingly, what he said was, and that coming from arguably one of the most valuable brands, been around for 127 years, he said that on the digital medium, we are finding that we have to loosen up. These are the words. As a brand, he says, for far too long, we have only delivered communication in a one-way format. Whereas when you loosen up and you get perspectives of your actual consumers, and he was obviously referring to the 90 million plus community, which Coke had then 6 months back, I'm sure it's grown now, on Facebook, there are different narratives and different stories which are getting created in its own way. See, this whole MCN ecosystem, there's been a lot that's been talked about, but I do believe in the potential of it. I do believe it needs some amount of creative curation and guidance for it to ramp up to a certain more scale. Yeah? But, I mean, I was not referring to that not being an angle which is monetizable.
Okay, I don't get to ask the last question because that gentleman does. And please.
My name is Jairaj from Beehive Communications. Some of the earlier speakers touched upon that issue, but only briefly. I'm interested in knowing a little bit about the issue of language in India, causing a digital divide, and that being a cause for so many other issues such as non-monetization or not penetration, because you told us about how China has got a 24 billion digital advertising business, while in India it's only so much. How much of it is an issue?
Absolutely. I think I've said this on a couple of occasions. There's Bharat and there is India, and there's Bharat and sort of middle India as we describe it. And I'm reminded of something that we internally discussed almost 6.5, 7 years back. I think it was 2007. The headline that day was that India crosses 250 million mobile sort of activations, not necessarily consumers, but, and I got my colleagues into a huddle. One part of our business, a big part of our business is content across music, movies, television, etc. We work with almost 400 partners. And I got them into a huddle and I said, look, listen, I think the moment telecom companies cross 250 million consumers in India, this means that language is going to become very, very significant. It also implies that these companies today will have reach greater than Unilever and ITC. Today, if you look at the growth that the Indian television industry has seen, for example, it is primarily the moment you went from Hindi GEC into the other vernacular languages. I'd like to see a lot more of that. The good news is at least major device manufacturers today have keyboards across languages, which is one good starting point. Your principal search has, options of that. But I don't necessarily see too many publishers taking this as almost a key aspect of greeting their consumers. So in our own case, one of the services which we run, a very large one, is our music service. So about a year back, we launched our app in a completely transliteration form, which means that, across 6 languages, once you select, every aspect of that app, the main Hungama app, will be in Tamil, Telugu, and Bengali, or whatever, the different languages that was introduced. And we found so much more adoption of that. Because, think about it. It's like, you hopping across just saying Kem Cho itself is a icebreaker, as it were, yeah, to sort of get going. So I agree, big potential, more needs to be done.
So we can go on with him, but we can't because we don't have the time. So thank you so much, Neeraj. You've always stood for innovation. Thank you for being so kind to us.